Surprisingly, I have another ramble video for you. I promise I have other ideas, but I'm also a yapper, so I have a lot that I'd like to say. And today specifically, I'm mostly going to be talking about my experience, I guess, in the queer community. Um, so, ever since about the fifth grade, I always kind of knew that I wasn't straight. Now, I grew up in a fairly, not conservative, but not exactly friendly to queer people environment. Um, and also, I mean, being young, I just didn't quite understand what everything entailed. But I always knew that I was a little bit different for one reason or another. Now, I kind of came out about that and then quietly forgot that I did that. So, for the next 4 years after fifth grade, I just kind of didn't say anything about it ever again. I kind of just kept on living as, a straight boy who, you know, went to the school's sports games and, played Fortnite, and I really just wanted to fit in with a lot of the cooler kids there. And I'd say I kind of succeeded, and I was actually, I don't know that I was like lying to myself or putting on a front. I think I wasn't lying, I just wasn't being totally truthful. Um, so when I got into ninth grade, my freshman year of high school, those feelings kind of started coming up again. And I think a big part of that was I was in the marching band, which I know I've talked about before, but I promise it's not a big part of this story. Um, but yeah, I was in marching band, and there were quite a lot of queer people there, and that I think was really the first time I had been in an environment that was accepting of that so many people just were openly queer. I hadn't really had experience with that before. Um, and so those feelings of, hey, maybe I'm not straight, maybe I don't fit into that norm, started to come up again. And eventually, after, talking to a whole bunch of people and just really digging deep into my own soul, I came for a second time to the conclusion that I am bisexual. And I kind of thought that was going to be the end of my journey. I was like, hey, I know this thing about me, and that's cool, and we don't need to go any further. That is not the cards I was dealt. Um, my sophomore year of high school was 2020, which was the COVID year. So it actually affected the end of my freshman year and into all of my sophomore year, really. And I'm not really sure. Honestly, I've blocked out a lot of my memories from my high school years, but for one reason or another, I did not feel like I was in the right body. I started having the feeling that I may actually be a woman. And I'd say after we went back, because near the beginning of that year we were doing online school, and then for the second half of the year we went back in, and with social distancing and masks and everything, we were in the classes again. And so I think all the time alone, and I don't know, having a very weird sense of self kind of led to that conclusion, which we'll get back into later why I call that a conclusion. But and so I came out as a trans woman. Um Now I will fully admit I hadn't really done my research, and I probably rushed things a little bit. If it hadn't been for the lockdowns and the quarantines and everything, I definitely would have been thinking about this a lot longer than I did. But you know, that's where I ended up. And then at the end of that year, after the worst relationship I have ever been in, uh, I kind of lost my sense of self again, and I detransitioned. Um, so I went by he him pronouns again. I for a long time I kind of just didn't acknowledge that that year happened. I think now getting to a point where I have to be like, that was an important part of my history. Um, with that being said, I will say, as of recent, and recent I mean going back a couple of months, I have been questioning my identity again. It's not. I'm trying to think of how to word this because I don't know that the words are coming to my brain the right way. Um, it's not the only thing I can think about like it was back then, but it is something I do think about quite a lot. And again, I feel like my problem back then was how fast I rushed into immediately giving myself the label of being a woman, and immediately telling all my friends, like, hey, you start calling me this and I'm going to change my name, and not thinking about it enough, because I am thinking about it quite a lot now. um, I'm I'm still fairly confident in calling myself a cisgender man. Um, and who knows? That might never change. That might change tomorrow. But yeah, and I'm just thankful that this time I don't feel so dysphoric, because when I felt this way the first time in 2020, it was definitely a much harder pill for me to swallow. That, I looked the way I did, I sounded the way I did, I didn't necessarily have the best support system around me. Also, if it sounds like I am like on the verge of tears, I promise I am actually completely okay. But I am a little sick right now. So I'm sorry if I've worried any of you. I promise 100% I am completely okay. I just am coming down from a cold. So my voice isn't quite cooperating with me the way I want it to. But so yeah, I'm still gonna call myself a cis man. But I'm opening the door to that discussion for myself. And speaking of discussions, I also very recently came out to my father as bisexual, um, and he very thankfully was supportive of me. My mom has known for a couple of years now, probably since about 2020. I think she was the first one I ever told. Well, first family member I ever told. My brother has known since 2022, and my dad found out this year. Well, actually, he technically found out last year. I told him on New Year's Eve. Um, so that has been a very big relief off of a very big weight off of my shoulders. I'm I'm in a very good place right now, and that's something I don't think I would have been able to say even just a year ago. Um, I definitely have a lot more motivation now, um, and I'm happy to have a passion like this, and to have an audience of people that are willing to listen to me uh, talk about my own struggles. um, yeah, I think that's really all I have for you guys. Um, I just want you to know that I accept all of you. I love all of you, and I hope that you know that, and I will see you all next time.